I'm not happy. My camera's all messed up. I don't know if my mic is working all too well. I don't care. I don't know how to fix all of this, so I'm going to be a little yellow today. What's going on? My name is Ethan. Now I'm green. Welcome back to Hardcap Games. No one wanted this, NFL. No one wanted this. No one at all. For those of you who may not be aware, the AFC and NFC championship games have wrapped up today. And the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to try and speak candidly as an unbiased fan in the AFC. And I'm going to talk about the Lions. No one wanted this outcome today. Let me rephrase that. There are three groups of people right now who are really happy. Just three. There's only three. And granted, they constitute a large portion of the United States. But there's only three groups. And those three groups are Chiefs fans, Niners fans, and also Taylor Swift fans. That's it. They're the only ones that are happy right now. Everybody else is annoyed and pissed. Because I'll be completely honest, the NFL, in my opinion, doesn't quite feel real a lot of the time. Like, there's honestly nothing that you can really do to tell me that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the AFC this year. Because we didn't see that once throughout the entire year. We saw throughout the entire year them being mad at the receivers. We saw them blaming Mahomes. We saw people blaming the offensive line, the defense. Only really Andy Reid only didn't get flack this year. It was kind of weird. But the NFL seems like it is selling more of an entertainment like the WWE than entertainment like a sports organization. In that it feels like a lot of the time they want a storyline. They want the thing that feels the most marketable. And what's marketable to the NFL is a picture of after the Chiefs beat the 49ers next week, inevitably, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift kissing under the confetti. And going, oh, Trav, you won the Super Bowl. You did it. And then they get the smooch, and then it goes on the front page, and the NFL's relevant. And no one wants that. Like, it's... The Chiefs have become insufferable to watch this year. Now, full disclosure, I'm a Patriots fan. I don't like either of these two franchises all that much. I'm also a Lions fan because my family's from Detroit, so I'm a Patriots and Lions fan. It's a weird existence, I know. But the Chiefs this year have been more and more insufferable than in recent years. And I'm not going to stand here and blame, like, Taylor Swift. That'd be weird. Because Taylor Swift's not on the field. But the attitude revolving around the Kansas City Chiefs all year has been like, yeah, we're hot stuff. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to kick over Justin Tucker's helmet. Like, the stuff before the game and the stuff that was happening during the AFC Championship game, it was weird. A lot of it felt unnecessary. There shouldn't be beef between these two teams. They don't have like a long-standing relationship of like hating each other, as far as I'm aware. But anyone that's a football fan that is not a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs wanted to see Lamar Jackson go win his first Super Bowl, or at least have a shot at it. They wanted to see him beat the Chiefs and go in and take on whoever they were going to take on. Maybe they didn't care about this game as much, being the NFC Championship game, but I feel like most people across America were rooting for Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's team came up short. I don't want to blame Zay Flowers, but I think you can. I think that Zay can take a little bit of the blame on this one, considering he caught a really nice pass and then stood up and taunted the cornerback and lost his team 15 yards for it, and then fumbled the ball on the goal line with 7 minutes to go, and then was so mad he went off on the sideline, smashed his helmet on the ground or the bench or something, and cut his hand, and was not really serviceable for the rest of the game. So I think we can kind of point at Zay Flowers a little bit and say he didn't really make that great decisions today. Now, me personally, I can't stand all the media attention that revolves around the Chiefs. I hate what major sports discussion people do with teams like the Chiefs and the Lakers, where they just talk about them. Even if there's no news to report, they'll find a way to talk about them. It happens all the time. Like, just watch ESPN for just watch one episode of One Take. They will talk about the Lakers. They will. 100%. They will at some point talk about how Austin Reeves fell last night and tweaked his ankle. Is that bad news for the Lakers? Who cares? Embiid dropped 70. These things they should not be in the same realm of conversation. It happens with the Chiefs too. People talk about the Chiefs way more than other franchises. I heard way more about the Chiefs this upcoming week than I did the Ravens and the Lions and the Niners combined. So yeah, I can't stand the media attention and the heavy focus around the Chiefs. If I don't watch the Super Bowl, it's because I don't want to watch the Chiefs win. Because they're going to win. Let's be real. They're playing the 49ers. They're going to win. The NFL will make sure that happens. One final thing about the AFC Championship game that I thought was interesting was something that I saw on Twitter. And of course, this could have no correlation whatsoever, and you can't make baseless assumptions about this thing. But in the lead up to the game, they were talking about the ref crew that had been assigned to cover this game. The head ref calls penalties on the home team, I think it was 15% more on average. And not as a result, but related news, the road team wins 65 or something percent of the time when he refs a game, which is a wild swing considering the home team for the average ref crew wins 55% of the time. That's why they call it a home field advantage. But when this guy refs, there's no home field advantage, it's a road team advantage. So I think that was a little bit interesting that he was the one assigned to the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift show. Just saying. Now I will say, the Ravens didn't play well. At all. For a good part of the game. If not almost all of it. I missed the first quarter. I can't tell you how they did then. And the Chiefs arguably played much better. So I'll give them credit there. They did play better than the Ravens did. They didn't look great, though, from what I saw for most of it. They looked okay. They definitely didn't look like a team that should have beat all the Bills and the Ravens in the playoffs. All right, enough about the guys I don't care about. Let's talk about the guys I do care about. The Detroit Lions made me very sad. The narrative around the Detroit Lions has always been that they're the worst team in the league next to the Cleveland Browns, that they can never get anything right, that they never win, which is true. It is a fact. They are historically one of the worst franchises in NFL history, and it's a shocker they haven't been closed as a franchise yet because of how bad they've been. The Detroit Lions lost to the 49ers and Brock 2-yard slants Purdy in the most depressing loss I think I've ever seen for the Lions. Not because it was horrible, and not because it was the position that they were in, but because of both those things at the same time. The Lions jumped out to a 24-10 lead at the half, and I'll admit it, I was feeling pretty invincible at that moment as a Lions fan. Now you can look at me and you can say, oh, you haven't been around for the years of struggle and stress, which you're right, I have not been. I'm only 24 years old. I was not alive when they won the championship back in 1957. But I can still sympathize and empathize with the city because I'm a Lions fan. And my dad's a Lions fan. And my grandpa's a Lions fan. And my entire dad's family's Lions fans. And I've grown up as a Patriots fan in New England while also simultaneously cheering on the Lions. So I've known what good looks like. because I grew up in the era of Tom Brady. I was born in 99. My entire life, the Lions have been the butt of every joke in the NFL. And throughout the Patricia era, I was like, oh yeah, no, they're still wicked far away from getting anywhere close to a victory, much less a playoff berth. They hired Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell comes in, says that whole speech about we're going to bite their kneecaps off. They win like 3 games in his first season. They win 8 last year and barely miss the playoffs. And I go, this is it. Lock it in. Lions are going to the NFC Championship this game this year. And I was right. They did. They were just there. Literally like 7 minutes ago. The disappointing thing is that in the game, they jumped out to this huge lead. And then I watched it crumble away by the second. They were up 24-10, and not in this order. I've written nothing down. I'm just speaking off the top of my dome right now. But they had a crazy play by Brandon Ayuk. They had a 4-and-out, turn the ball over that led to that crazy catch by Brandon Ayuk, which was a crazy catch. I'll give him that. That was an awesome catch. As a fan of the game of football, that was a great catch. Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled the football, and all of a sudden, it's 24-24. And then it's 24-27. And then you have the opportunity to kick a field goal, and Dan Campbell opts not to. And he doesn't convert a 4th and 3. There were drops, there were missed interceptions, many of them to be exact. 2 points of note: fire Josh Reynolds into the sun, fire Aaron Glenn into the sun. I never want to see their faces ever again. 2 drops for Josh Reynolds in the second half is inexcusable. Aaron Glenn, I've had beef with him all year though. Aaron Glenn came out in this game running this great down and distance defense. It was awesome. They were stifling the Niners. They looked lost. Shanahan looked like he didn't know what to do to break it. They went into the half. They came back, and the Lions had changed their defense. Normally you anticipate to go into the locker room and say, okay, this is working. Let's not change it until we see them make changes. The Niners didn't make any changes. They kept doing what they were doing and bet on the fact that Aaron Glenn was going to mess it up. And he did. They switched to this prevent and man defense that just left McCaffrey open, Ayuk open, Samuel open, and number 15, who I don't even know his name, had like a bunch of catches. The Niners looked unstoppable in the second half. They scored 24 unanswered points. The Lions came out and scored 7 for the rest of the game. And it was a garbage time touchdown with a minute to go that forced them to get an onside kick that they did not convert. It's the most depressing way to lose a game as a fan. To see your team on the verge of your first ever Super Bowl and have it thrown away by your defensive coordinator because he decides that he wants to change it up. Was he getting bored? I don't know. What was Aaron Glenn thinking? On the other hand, Dan Campbell, who I love and I respect as a coach, he's got some nuts of steel. He is great. I think he's the guy for Detroit. But he's got to play a little smarter. There is no reason to go for it from your opponent's 35 on 4th and 3. You kick that field goal, you tie that game at 27, and then they score. You come back down, you score. All of a sudden, you're going to overtime, or you're forcing them to play to the last second. Now, granted, he probably would have gone for 2 if he had scored that touchdown, had the chance to go ahead, and then they probably would have missed it, and they probably would have lost in the most Lions way possible, because at the end of the day, they're the Detroit Lions. But it just drives me insane that watching the second half, this team just crumble out from underneath itself. It was the saddest thing I've ever watched. In a lot of regards, this was the Lions' most successful season since 1957. They won the NFC North for the first time ever since it's become the NFC North. The last time they won the NFC North, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in the division, and it was called the NFC Central. On top of winning the division, they looked awesome for almost the entire season. The only games that I felt like, ooh, that was really bad, was against the Ravens back in like week 5 or 6. I forget what week that was, but they lost like 34-6 or something. It was awful. I would say though that if the Lions had made the Super Bowl, no matter who they were up against, they had a good shot, but they couldn't take care of the ball. They couldn't play the defense that had been working for them, and they lost. They're going home, and now we have to watch the two most insufferable franchises in the league that are not named the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. I think the only way this gets worse is if the Cowboys are in the Super Bowl over the Niners. That would be terrible. I would hate that. But the Niners, they drive me insane. Like, they're good statistically, but we all know they're going to lose in 2 weeks in Las Vegas. We all know they're losing that game. If you think there's a chance the Niners come out with a win, you can't be too strong in that conviction, because at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes is playing for a Super Bowl, and the NFL likes that because they like stories. I'm going to go eat some ice cream and be sad. Thank you so much for watching, if you stayed to the end. Go Lions. Yeah, that's going to do it.